There has been a lot of New York Knicks injury updates this All-Star break, and we're going to break this down because obviously the Knicks do need to get healthy before the playoff run, and shout out to those cars honking the horn right as I start this video as New York does it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as we always do, because there is a lot of Knick injury news, especially with OG Anunoby, because we got great news earlier that OG will probably be back within the next 2 weeks, as doctors are set to reevaluate OG around March 1st, and according to a league source with knowledge of his recovery, the team expects him to return to on-court activities not long after, as put by Fred Katz of The Athletic. I took this from Daily Knicks, shout out to them. And basically, that's the biggest news that we could have because we know OG's supposed to be the first one back, and we need to start getting our players back. Look, Randle's the most important guy out, but we need OG Anunoby. Not as much as we need Randle, of course. Randle is an all-star. He's just an NBA star in general. He's been on the All-NBA team twice. He probably would have been again this year if he didn't get injured. But OG's also incredibly important to this team, so getting him back would be huge, and I think that we all know, as we've seen the Knicks play with and without OG this season, we are considerably better when Anunoby is on the court, so we need the first domino in him to fall. Now, if OG Anunoby is able to play again in early to mid-March, that would mean he is going to be in time for the last month of regular season play, which allows him to get his conditioning back up to speed before the playoffs. That is the big thing here. It sounds like he's going to return sometime soon after March 1st, so let's go somewhere around like March 5th-ish. If he returns by then yeah, he's got a little over a month to work and to try to get back into playoff shape. And that probably shouldn't be too hard. It is an elbow injury, so he could still do a ton of conditioning. So he's probably not really lost a step at all conditioning-wise. And if he has, it's probably something very minor that he's easily going to get back once he's back on the court. As you know, as much conditioning possibly could be done will never compare to what it's like playing on the basketball court, especially in the NBA, because it's just such a fast-paced game. It's exhausting. It's so physical. It's a contact sport after all. You will not be in perfect shape, but it does seem like OG will be able to get back in time. That is so important to the Knicks, but it's also just important that the rest of our team comes back. For instance, Julius Randle, and we've heard mixed things about Randle, but mainly that he should be back soon after this break ends. The question is what happens when he gets reevaluated? Because if his shoulder keeps just popping right in and out of place and is not stable, he's going to need shoulder surgery. He's probably not going to be able to hold off for the rest of the season. And in turn, he will end up getting season-ending shoulder surgery, which will really screw the Knicks' hopes up of making the conference finals. I still think they could, but the odds go down so much because they lose their other on-ball threat. The Knicks have two real offensive sets. It's run a pick and roll with Brunson or let Randle isolate and use his size to create mismatches. And if the Knicks don't have that second option, they are going to struggle. They don't have a lot of on-ball guys past that. I mean, DiVincenzo has been good, but his shot percentages have started to go down since he started balling out, as teams are a little bit more prepared to game plan for Donte DiVincenzo as one of the lead scoring options, which they were not doing previously, which is why he was so adept to breaking out. Outside of the fact that DiVincenzo is just an awesome player who's having the best season of his career, and clearly has shown that he could have a bigger role than what he does on the Knicks, and that contract was a steal. Believe me, I'm not saying that that's not true. What I'm saying is it's going to be harder for him to produce in the playoffs than compared to a few days before the All-Star break, or really 2 weeks before the All-Star break. That entire span, he looked great. Nearly 27 points per game, but those percentages are dropping. It's concerning for the playoffs, or it could be nothing. Who knows? But look, OG's having a great season with the Knicks. Just to tie it back into him real quick, 15 points per game, 4.2 rebounds, 2 assists, shoots 50% from the field and 38% from 3. He's an efficient player. He's one of the best defenders in the NBA. Since getting to the Knicks, they have been unstoppable with him on the court. But they have not been the same with him off the court. The Knicks lost their last 4 games in a row going into All-Star break, and that sucked. I mean, yeah, we all know why. They were covered in injuries. They were not supposed to win those games, but it still sucks because how close the Eastern Conference is this year. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of parity in the NBA right now on both sides. I mean, look at the Dallas Mavericks right now. 32-23, and they're the 7th seed. And then Sacramento, 31 and 23 as the 8th seed. Everyone's so close. If you keep looking at that scroll, all you're going to see is one after another. These teams are all very close, except for the bottom of the barrel NBA teams. And that's about it. And Boston Celtics, I guess. But, like, it's such a tight conference on each side. It's just the standings are so tight that the Knicks are going to need to get high up in the standings if they want a home court advantage. And losing 4 games in a row, injuries or not, is going to hurt your chances of doing so. So the Knicks need to get healthy. It's imperative. I really would rather them not ever have home court, or have them not have ever home court advantage. So essentially, if they're a 5th seed or below, and every time, or every series they're going to play pretty much will probably be not in their favor when it comes to where the games take place most of the time. Having home court advantage at home court advantage, I'm struggling with that right now. Jeez. In MSG, it's so huge. The crowd is like no other. The atmosphere is crazy. It's a lot easier for the Knicks to play there since they're more used to that than other teams who are not as comfortable playing there, when literally players have said the court has started shaking because how loud MSG gets in the playoffs. The Knicks have more experience with that than anyone because they play in MSG 41 times a year leading up to that. And games get intense there. I mean, that Lakers game, that had a playoff atmosphere. I guarantee the court got a little shaky there the same way that it does in playoffs, especially with someone as electrifying as Jalen Brunson. The fans have gotten loud this year. They've talked about that a ton. It's been huge. So I want home court advantage. The Knicks could still get up to the 2nd seed, but it's not going to be easy. That's why they need their players to come back. Now, what Tibbs had to say on Bojan, Devo, and Hartenstein, they'll all be ready once the team returns from All-Star break. That's huge. 3 of our most important role players. Hartenstein has been awesome as the center, and the only concern with Hartenstein is that he's playing so well, he's going to play himself right into a bigger contract that the Knicks can't afford, and he'll walk in free agency. That would be terrible, but we have to prepare ourselves for a very likely scenario that exact situation happens. I mean, sure, we could try to keep him and Mitch together, but it's going to be difficult because both of them deserve to start, and they both deserve similar money, and I'm not sure if the Knicks can pay both of them. And the Knicks have to be ready to make a tough decision, no matter what that is, on who they want their center of the future to be, because it's one of those two for sure. Bojan coming back is huge. He hasn't been here that long, but he's clearly very good. He gives the Knicks a ton of shooting that they need. And I just really like his play. I think he fits well with the Knicks, and he could certainly play power forward and cover for Randle while Randle recovers. I don't think the Knicks should rush Julius back. It doesn't make sense with the dislocation. The best thing to do is rest it as much as possible. He's going to be physical when he comes back, so he's going to have to use that shoulder a lot. That's just how it is. And then if he needs surgery, he can do it over the offseason. Again, he might not. Steph Curry hurt. He did the same thing. He dislocated his shoulder, was back 2 months later. Yeah, he wears the sleeve now, but he hasn't once injured the shoulder since. And Randle's got a lot more muscle around him, and muscles around a bone that dislocates. It's very important that they're very strong and hopefully bigger, because it will help stabilize that bone more. Julius Randle looks like an NFL linebacker who also happens to be 6'9", so he should be more okay than Steph was because of the bigger size, especially since it's an upper arm thing. It's not like he's putting pressure on his upper arms that much like you might with a leg injury. So hopefully Randle's back and he's good, because that is obviously the most important injury we have now. But there is someone else who we're forgetting about. Marcel Scott, Mitchell Robinson's trainer, posted a video of Mitch working, and it said, getting ready for playoff basketball. If you look, Mitch's ankles, neither one of them is wrapped up at all. He looks great. I mean, the man looks like $1 million right there. He's jacked. He's all Mitchell Robinson-like. And look, Scott seems to think that Mitch is going to come back for the playoffs. He knows that people were going to see this. Marcel Scott's been Mitch's trainer for a while. And clearly, we're seeing Mitchell Robinson get ready for a playoff push. That would be huge. There's a good chance the Knicks and the Cavs have their rematch, and I really want to see Mitchell Robinson available in that series, as the things that he did to Evan Mobley and Jared Allen were just so comical to watch that I really want to see Mitch just do that again and be like, yeah, no, don't get it twisted. I am better than both of you. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that if it happens, or against any team. I mean, just the presence of Mitchell Robinson. As great as Hartenstein's been, I think because of his greatness, we've forgotten how pivotal of a defender Mitchell Robinson is. People don't drive to the rim when Mitch is there. It's the same thing as Rudy Gobert. They're like, Mitch is down there, I'm not trying them. Look, the reason Mitch only averages 1.5 blocks per game this year instead of the usual 2 is because teams know now. They're like, if I drive on Mitchell Robinson, he doesn't foul people anymore. He just blocks every shot. He's also getting a bunch of steals now to make up for the fact that no one drives on him anymore to keep that defensive impact. He's honestly making his impact higher because he's forcing guys into tough shots. He's now willing to play perimeter defense. Remember, the Mitchell Robinson that we saw at the beginning of this season before his injury looked like a defensive player of the year candidate. That's how good he was, while also being the best offensive rebounder I've ever seen in my entire life. Robinson is on one. They need him back for playoffs, especially, again, when it comes to making an Eastern Conference Finals push, and potentially an NBA Finals push if things go well. They need Mitchell Robinson there as much as they need anyone. Mitch is the longest tenured Knick. There's a reason why he has never been moved. There's a reason why he's basically started his entire time with the Knicks. He is a baller. I cannot wait to see Mitch back, especially once OG's back. Also, OG and Mitch together would be flat out disgusting on defense. You're not scoring on that team. That is an elite defense right there with an elite offensive player in Jalen Brunson, with an all-star in Julius Randle, with OG's shooting, with DiVincenzo becoming Klay Thompson. This is a stacked up team when healthy, so the Knicks need to make sure that they get healthy in time. I want to see this variation of a basketball team in the playoffs. I think it is how you determine what you do in the offseason. Do you trade for a star? If you do, what kind of player are you looking for? What kind of position are you looking for? There's only one way to find out, which is you put this Knicks team in the playoffs and you have all of your weapons there and healthy. So hopefully that works out. The one I'm most concerned about is probably Julius, because the Knicks can't afford to lose him as much as they can afford to lose Mitch because of Hartenstein and Precious is balling out and Jericho Sims. And you can always pick up a center off of the buyout market or the free agent market, like Nerlens Noel, like, what's his name? Like Dwayne Dedman, something like that. And OG, you have a million wings. You're going to lose his defense, and that's going to suck. But you still have Alec Burks. You still have Bojan Bogdanovic, who can play that small forward role. You still have DiVincenzo. You have Josh Hart. You have a ton of wings anyway. The Knicks will be fine. They need Julius back and healthy. They also need Mitch. They need the whole team, and I hope that that's what they get. Make sure to like this video. Comment down below what you think. Who are you most excited to see come back? Anything you guys want to see us make, comment down below. We'll do it Knicks Digest. We're expanding the variety over here. Have a great day, guys. Go Knicks.